welcome to Clyde, New York, a rural town that's home to around 2,000 people, the Erie Canal, and, well, that's just about it.
Clyde is basically a hick town, lots of farms and cornfields.
The village of Clyde is totally dead. We don't even have a stoplight.
We don't have a Starbucks, we don't have a Walmart, we don't have a McDonald's. Clyde's small enough not to have anything.
Clyde is so small that Clyde Savannah Central School combines grades 7 through 12 in one little building.
We only had about 75 seniors in our graduating class.
If something happens to someone, everyone knows about it. Car crashes, breakups, everything.
And at the heart of Clyde Savannah Central was a beloved principal, Mr. Patanzo.
Hey guys, how's it going? Morning, how are you? Hey, how you doing?
Who, after devoting over 30 years to the school, was planning to retire at the end of the year.
He stands in front of the school and he'll say good morning. If you're looking kind of glum, he'll be like, what's wrong with you today?
Mr. Patanzo's a really great guy. He's not just a principal, he's more like a friend to everybody.
A lot of my classmates, their parents have had Mr. Patanzo as a teacher. Without Mr. Patanzo there, I don't think the school would run the way it does.
Meet Nathan, one of the most popular seniors at school. And when people say he's an Eagle Scout and a choir boy, it's not just a figure of speech.
He's the student council president. He handles everything very well.
He stands up for what we believe in, and he'll listen to what everybody has to say.
Nate was excited for his last semester of high school. But when he and the rest of the students showed up at school, Mr. P wasn't there to greet him.
We all left for Christmas break, and we got back, and Mr. Patanzo was not there.
At first, I thought maybe he was just having a sick day. Maybe he ate some bad chicken or something, I don't know. After the next 2 days, when he didn't show up, I was getting pretty worried.
No one knew what was going on.
I don't understand how no one knows where he is.
We decided we wanted some answers.
We tried asking teachers.
Do you know where Mr. Patanzo is at?
All I know is that he's retired and he's no longer with us.
I just don't understand why Mr. Patanzo would go off without saying anything to us. It's completely unlike him.
Honestly, if I knew, I'd tell you.
Fed up and frustrated by the lack of answers, the students of Clyde Savannah decided to take matters into their own hands.
I got an idea. What if we staged a sit-in in the auditorium?
What if we did a sit-in in the auditorium?
That's what I just said.
Yeah, when she would do it.
That's what I just said.
I'm not sure exactly who came up with the idea for the sit-in, but I think it was a really good idea.
The plan was on this Friday, we're going to have a sit-in in honor of Mr. Patanzo. Once the bell rang for first period, everyone was to leave homeroom and just go right to the auditorium. Just skip all your classes and stay in there until we get answers.
We all decided, okay, yeah, let's do it. They have to listen to us. We're not going to leave and go to our classes.
The day of dissent finally arrived, and the seniors were prepared to sit down in peaceful protest until they got answers. But just before go time, there was an announcement.
Attention students, would all seniors please report to the auditorium?
We didn't know what was going on.
The superintendent comes in and says he had heard about the sit-in because he had found one of the notes on the floor.
He didn't think it was a very good way to honor Mr. Patanzo.
The superintendent's like, I'm here to answer questions. What do you want to know?
So why didn't anyone tell us he was leaving?
It has to do with privacy, his privacy.
Superintendent gave us crap answers.
It has to do with privacy, and that's his business.
He repeated the same answers over and over again.
Because it's personal and it's private.
The superintendent's response was that it was confidential information.
Well, to be perfectly honest, it's not your business.
Then he told us the vice principal is now the principal. And then the superintendent said, if you don't go to class and you stay here for the sit-in, there's going to be consequences.
We can't do anything to us as long as we stay here.
Word spread like rapid fire. Don't leave. We gotta stay. We gotta stay.
At this point in time, the sit-in started. There was no turning back.
When a lot of us didn't get up and leave, he kind of just shook his head and went up to his office to think about what he was going to do.
While the superintendent went somewhere to collect his thoughts, the feisty students weren't going anywhere.
At the beginning, morale was pretty high. We were excited.
Everybody loved it. They thought it was a really great, non-aggressive way to get answers.
But the superintendent came back in, and we were warned again that,
Okay, you've been here a couple hours.
I'm going to give you one more chance to leave, then there's going to be consequences to face.
Some people left, some people stayed, and we're like, you know, we're doing this for a reason.
We were going to stay in the auditorium all day until we got answers.
And by staying in their seats, the students thought they'd get the response they were looking for. And waiting. And more waiting. Nate was getting weary of the wait. So the Eagle Scout decided to go commando and spy on the superintendent.
I've had enough. We take names and we suspend them now.
Once I heard they were taking names and students would be suspended, I was like, oh great, that's the end of it. The cause was lost pretty much, and so I decided to leave.
As Nate and others left, some students stayed and held their ground.
Everybody who stayed, I want your names.
When you stand up for something you believe in, there's always consequences, but it's worthwhile.
I think Mr. Patanzo is very honored by what we've done. A lot of us were suspended because we cared so much.
A week later, the students who stayed until the bitter end were served suspensions. And in a cruel twist of fate, their punishment was to be served in none other than the auditorium.
Yeah, it made no sense because it was the same exact thing we did for the sit-in.
The students of Clyde Savannah Central never solved the Mr. Patanzo mystery, but after it was all said and done, they were proud of themselves for sitting down.
Even though we didn't get our answers, we did do the right thing. We all came together for Mr. Patanzo.
We took the initiative every morning to say, hi, how are you? And that really meant a lot to the students at Clyde Savannah, and we thank you a lot for that.
The sit-in was successful because it showed, as a group, we can stand up for what we believe in. I think it really did honor him as our principal. It's one of those days that